Welcome to Hiring Happy Humans, where we talk about all things HR with a variety of folks, from CEOs to community partners, sharing up-to-date trends, best practices, and our wild workplace stories. Each interview is designed to leave you with the knowledge to keep your sanity. I'm your host, Dawn Sipley, of Sipley the Best. Thanks for joining in, and let's jump into this week's episode. Welcome back, everybody, to another Hiring Happy Humans. Today, I have Jessi Park here with me. Jessi and I have known each other through social media for, I think, nearly a decade now. And it has just been, you and I have both gone through some wild changes, especially in the last few years. And so I just wanted to bring you on my show. I've always admired your hustle and your grind and just the authenticity of the way that you shared your story kind of out there on social media. So I'm just super eager to pick your brain about what led to your success as the leader of Inspired Insurance.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much for having me in the first place as a guest on your podcast. Like you said, my name is Jessi Park. I'm the owner of Inspired Insurance Solutions. We are a nationwide brokerage that focuses on life insurance, health insurance, Medicare, and annuities. And fun fact, 6 years ago, I wasn't even licensed. I didn't know a drop about insurance. And I essentially, I always tell people I fell into the insurance world. Because nothing was ever intentional. I ended up only reluctantly taking a job in insurance sales because I had been let go of a corporate job that I had. And it was a surprise. I got let go. I'm a single mom. I went on food stamps and unemployment. In the meantime, I was looking for jobs, and I ran across one that was recruiting for over the phone insurance agents, where you had to drum up your own business, make cold calls, and God, it sounded disgusting. I did not want to do that
Right.
at all. But whenever you're a single mom, your back is kind of pressed. I didn't have the luxury to wait, and so I ended up doing it. And I realized pretty quickly I was actually quite good at it. I was quite good at connecting with people and getting them to talk to me, and I would talk to them. And, the conversation would turn towards insurance, and it felt natural. Like the progression of talking to people felt natural. And within 8 months of starting, I wrote $1 million in business, which I even surprised myself.
Wow. Yeah.
It's pretty
So
good.
typically when you start that kind of role with no industry experience, did you do the old friends and family circle first or did you just start dialing for dollars?
Yeah, so my family they don't have money like that. So it's just, I didn't even ask them because I already knew that it just they weren't going
Right.
to buy from me. So yeah, my only choice was to call leads. So I just called age leads, and age leads are people that at once upon a time wanted insurance. It could be a year or 2 years ago. But to me, hey, you still need insurance. Everybody still needs insurance. And so if you already got insurance, maybe I can find something better for you. And that was my approach. And I ended up, like I said, quickly kind of finding my footing and being really good at it. I broke all the records when it came to writing the most business in such a short amount of time. And I still hold that record for someone who's brand new in the insurance industry. Didn't come over with a book of business. There's people have done it sooner than 8 months, but they came over with a full book of business, which meant they had clients.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have any of that. So, the hustle to get where I'm at today. And then from there, I started building a team. And then in 2019, I opened up my own agency. And it's just been an incredible journey, and I'm very thankful.
Now, one of the favorite stories that I've heard you share is your office transition story. Tell me about the library, tell me about the room, and then share with me about where you are today and how you were able to make those transitions.
Yeah, sure. So, when I very first started, I had the bright idea. No one's heard this because this is the first time I'm telling it, but I had the bright idea to work out of, there's like a hotel on Magnolia, and they have a big lobby. And I thought to myself, or maybe it's like a business complex, like other people rent from there, but I thought I could find an empty corner and work out of there, but it was just way too loud. So I was like, okay, let me try working from home. home had no was not set up to work from home. I was
Mhm.
working on the floor. My back was cramped. I'd have my laptop set up on a pillow and it would slide off. And I was like, you know what? No, I need a quiet space and I need a desk. So then I ended up using my library card to rent the student rooms at the Orlando Public Library. You can rent them for free, by the way. You just have to be a member. And I
Mhm.
would sit and I would dial from there. And what the library allowed me to do, it allowed me to come up with a schedule and hold myself accountable and get into a habit. So
Mm.
after about 4 months of doing the get up early, take my kids to school, be at the library by 9 a.m., start dialing, all of that, it allowed me to kind of get into the flow of things. And then I realized that I just only needed self discipline to work from home, not, so I bought
Right.
a desk and then I started making myself get up and work every single morning. But that's what I lacked in the beginning was the self discipline to be an entrepreneur. Um, Whenever you're a corporate person, you are used to clocking in and clocking out. And,
Mhm.
the 9 to 5 mentality is kind of like what we're raised on. But when you're an entrepreneur, you don't actually really ever clock out. You're in business for yourself. And so because I was in business for myself, I allowed myself to watch The Price is Right, go out to lunch, make all these really bad decisions because I had no discipline.
Right.
But the library and forming that habit taught me discipline, and then I was able to work from home successfully.
That's
Oh, and
awesome.
then after that, so then I got my first office late December. It was a workshare space in downtown Orlando. I shared it with like 7 other businesses. There was no parking, by the way. So you're walking like blocks to the office. And
Carrying
then
everything because you can't leave
carrying
it in the
everything up.
office. Yeah.
Exactly. And then from there I rented a kind of like it was like a house in Winter Park, but they converted it to an office. It's like one of those dual, it
Mm.
could be a house, it could be an office. It's
Mhm.
right by Trader Joe's. And I rented that for a year, and then I took a year off from renting, and then I rented another small, like 3 office space in Altamont Springs, and then I was wanting to expand, but I didn't want to pay a landlord $6,000 a month. I was like, one of my good friends is a commercial real estate broker, Amy Calendrino. I'm not sure if you know her,
Mhm.
but she was like, Jesse, why don't you buy? And I was like, what? Buy commercial? So she walked me through it. And so I bought a commercial building in August of 2020.
That's amazing. And so how many square feet do you have now?
So it's around 6,000.
Wow, that's huge. It's a beautiful
Yeah, it
building
is.
too, and you've decorated it so nicely. So insurance, so sexy and exciting and all of those things. And I just found it so interesting that you got into insurance because in your previous world, you had been an artist. So,
Hmm.
how do you find your artistic abilities and talents that are applied to more of this sterile business environment that so many people have that preconceived notion that that's what insurance is?
Yeah, so I am right and left brained. I went to college and I have a practical degree in business and, well, it's actually communications and business finance, marketing. It's been a long time, around there. It's around one of those things. And so I always had that degree, but I'm an artistic person. So I did artwork for a couple years and I did the artwork circuit, but man, that's it's so expensive to participate in those shows. And then if you don't sell anything, you're going home with no money for that week,
Right.
negative money for that week.
Hmm.
And that just wasn't a viable career for someone with 2 little kids. Maybe
Hmm.
if I was single and I didn't have any other people to worry about and I didn't need to live in such a large, give them each their own bedroom, I could have made it. But I ended up just needing a job. I needed a corporate job. I needed money. And so I used my degree to get the job that I ultimately ended up getting let go from. And I think it all works out. It all kind of just is, you have a plan and you got to make mistakes and fail along the way because it teaches you huge lessons what not to do and what to do next time when something like that comes around. So, my biggest blessing I think so far is getting let go from that job because I would have probably held on to that job out of comfort. Even though I wasn't always entirely happy, I always felt like I had more to give. And I was skipped over
Hmm.
a lot for promotions because I was the youngest and a woman.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
I've
we
always
know.
been the baby in my circles as well. Any company that I've been a part of, I was always the youngest, and
Mhm.
just ran in those crowds for whatever reason.
Mhm.
I don't know how it always ended up being that way. And female
Yeah.
in a male, very male dominated environment is not abnormal um for me to be the only woman in the room sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the same here. I just did a podcast this morning and it was 6 people. I was the only woman.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
just kind of is what it is, you know.
And that huge conference that you just came back from traveling from, you're only one of three. It seems, is insurance male dominated? I know
Oh,
back in the day it used to be, but it seems to be more female leaning, or growing
um,
now.
so I mean, it is growing. The number of women getting involved in the industry definitely is growing, but the
Mhm.
number of women at the top are still very few and far between. So it is mostly men that are agency owners or
Mhm.
have the huge downlines or have a position of some sort of executive level at an insurance agency. So I'm definitely a minority when it comes to that.
Okay. Now, one thing that really differentiates you from other agencies is the model of how you hire, train, orient to the insurance world. I've worked with many insurance companies all over Central Florida. They are all brick and mortars. They pay an hourly rate. They do a tiny split. Good luck, figure it out. You're a salesperson. You should be able to sell something if you want to come into this industry. Very sink or
Mhm.
swim esque. But you took I've kind of jokingly called it like the Google approach, right? The fun work environment, the snacks in the break room, game
Mhm.
room. Share with me just a little bit about the culture and the setting that you've developed that's been able to lend to the success and growth that you've had.
Sure. Well, the fact is that most of my agents are actually are out of state and they don't come to the office. But I think in general, like once people get the hang of it, it can be very fun and there's a lot of money to be made in insurance. And so I
Mhm.
try to encourage people to step out of their comfort zone, get on the phone, start making the dials, start connecting with people, start selling policies. And I think sometimes someone just needs someone to speak life into them, to encourage them
Yes.
and tell them that they can do it, and sometimes that makes a huge difference. And then they have the confidence to get on the phone and start, making sales and things like that. So as far as like the work environment and having the cool fun things here at the office, I want to encourage people to come to the office because I feel
Mhm.
like they do better whenever they're here in person. But I can't force anyone. Everyone is a 1099, so I can't
Right.
force anyone to. um, a lot of people fail. 92% of people that ever get an insurance license fail. So I try my best to help with that. We offer mentorship. We offer weekly trainings, like complete immersion. I'll even get on the phone and close your client for you, and you can have the sale. I know we offer a lot of things that other agencies don't, but we still, it is a very hard career.
Yeah. If someone was curious about working with your organization and kind of getting that training and mentorship, what would that look like? Do they have to come to you already with a 215 license, or do you help them get that license? What does that process look like?
Yeah, sure. So if anyone's interested, go to www.joininspiredinsurance.com. There's a 14-minute video there that I recorded. I go over compensation, carriers, commissions, incentives, things like that. And then there's underneath, once you watch the video, a calendar pops up and you can book an appointment to do a Zoom with someone on my staff and ask questions, go over everything. No, you don't have to be licensed to come here and get an interview, but you definitely have to get your license to work with us.
Okay. Do they have a time frame of which they need to go acquire that by, and is that to a cost of themselves, or does the company help cover that?
Company can help cover that for them,
Okay.
their LLC, if they form one. It is definitely, they can pay for their own license. It's a total of $175. That's less than one college course. And if they can't invest into themselves, they're not going to make it anyways.
Right. Right. So your success with the insurance company has given you the freedom to try out some other ventures and kind of spread your wings when it comes to your more creative side. Since you've been able to build up this enterprise and get it set into a way to allow you to scoot out the back door and play with some of your dreams, what are some of the other ventures that you've gotten yourself into?
Yeah, so I recently just launched, well, they're both under pre-order status right now. I launched an executive bag company. It's for women that travel. I do have men's stuff in there too, but it's mainly aimed at women. And not just travel on an airplane. I'm talking about commute back and forth to work because I feel like we
Oh,
always carry a bunch of things. We have our laptop, our folders, our brochures, our purses, our water bottle,
water
our
bottle,
coffee, our lunch.
snacks.
Exactly. So,
Right.
the bag is an all-encompassing bag for women on the go, and so it's essentially like the main bag, and then there's matching accessories. So you can bundle it and build all the accessories into it however you like. So, for instance, like a commuter, a woman that kind of works all the time, she would probably want the main bag, a lunch tote, a purse, and then a file folder. And all of it fits in there, and it's very, it's such a unique, cool design. It's patent
It
pending.
is. It's
Yeah,
just so gorgeous.
yeah. So it rolls with you, and then if you ever wanted to convert it to, like, say, a weekender, or you wanted to go away on a trip, you didn't want the trolley on it anymore, the trolley detaches from it and
Mhm.
folds up and fits inside. And so, yeah, it's super cool. And then I also have a perfume line launching. That one is that's a nice, it's a nice story. My sister passed away last year. It's actually almost been 2 years, which
Wow, that
time
seems
flies.
crazy to me.
Yeah. And she has two children, Alicia and Evan. And so I combined their names together and I came up with Elysian perfume. And that is, it's a tribute to my sister in a way. Her and I both really loved fragrances, but I also would love to build a company that Alicia and Evan can have ownership of whenever they get
Mhm.
older, if they want to.
Right,
And just have something there to where they're not stuck in the cycle of, debt and poverty and kind of
right,
what we all grew up with.
right.
So,
So how do you even like pick a scent? Like what does that even look like?
yeah, so it's hard work, really. I've been
Yeah.
working with two perfume houses, one in New York. The guy in New York, he actually worked for Estee Lauder at one point in time, so he is a master perfumer. And then I'm working with a fragrance house down in Miami. And essentially, what I do is I say, hey, I want a fresh, sexy scent. And so then they send me like 5 samples and I smell each one of them and say if I like one, but say it's missing sandalwood or something,
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I say, hey, I think this one's missing, some a bass note. Like give me like a muskier bass note. And then
Mhm.
we keep trying that. So I've been coming up with perfume now since and doing this whole trial and error process now for about 7 months. It's so much
Oh
fun. I
wow.
have so many samples. I smell
Right.
so good. Like here's one right here.
Uh-huh.
See, it says
Oh,
Jessi Park
yep.
RA4. This
Uh-huh.
it's almost gone because God, it's so sexy.
Well, so describe it to me. Is it more of like magnolia? Is it more musky?
Yeah,
Is
so
it
this one is
jasmine-y?
this one is definitely for men. Most of my scents are unisex, but this one is for men. Um, this one smells like
I'm down.
it smells so good. Imagine like a man fresh out. He has like pecs and like
Oh,
abdominal
okay.
muscles and stuff, and like he is fresh out of the shower. It just smells. It's very fresh and clean
Okay.
and manly. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So you've got scents, you've got bags. What else are in as we go through these, how in the heck do you manage all of this? So I would love to learn, like, do you have an executive assistant? Do you have a strategic business coach? Because your hands are in a lot of pots. Most people can't even run one company, much
Yeah.
less you're about to spout off a couple more. So you've got how many companies total?
So in total, I have my insurance agency, and then I have my book and my speaking gigs, but that's really just part of my insurance. It's an
Right.
extension of
Yeah.
my insurance agency, and then
Yeah.
I have Elysian, which is the perfume, and Execulux, which is the bags. So
Okay.
in total, I mean, you could just say three. I have a couple more LLCs than I do than that, but one of them is a holdings company and one of them is a real estate investment company. But in general, I just have three companies. I have my insurance brokerage and then extensions of that, and then I have my perfume and my bags.
Okay. Okay.
So who do I have on my team that helps me with all of that?
Yes, because
Right?
you're definitely not solo. So what's the secret sauce behind managing all of those balls
For
in the
sure.
air?
So I have a stellar rock star. She started out as a receptionist with me, and then she moved on up to a client retention, and then
Mhm.
she moved up to talent acquisition manager, helping me onboard new agents. And now she got a promotion a couple months ago to director of operations.
Oh, there we
And
go.
so she is stellar. She's absolutely phenomenal. She's amazing at her job.
How did you identify her originally? What is it, the traits that kind of sold you on that
Yeah.
original hire?
So I found her on Indeed and I brought her in for an interview. Initially, the position I was hiring for was client retention for Medicare, and she had worked in a Medicare call center. So that's
Mhm.
really how I found her. If she hadn't had that experience, I don't think I would have looked at her at that point in time. But then since then, like a couple of key traits is like she's just committed. She's very committed
Mhm.
to the success of the business. She understands that I'm an entrepreneur and the success of the business means steady paycheck for her. And so
Right.
she understands the assignment, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and she she really does. She works, whole. I don't. I knock on wood. I don't think she'll ever leave unless I become like a horrible boss, which I don't plan to. But she's phenomenal. And then I have Jorian, who is an administrative assistant. On the agency side, she kind of helps onboard new agents. And Jorian's actually my daughter, and so that's how
Okay.
she got the job. She a little what is that called? Nepotism? Is
Right.
that
Yes.
okay? Yeah, a
Yeah.
little nepotism there. And then
I
I
tried to
have
hire my daughter over the summer and it didn't go so swimmingly, but maybe she'll
no.
boomerang. She's only 14 though,
Oh,
so
okay, okay. My
we'll
daughter's
see.
19, yeah. So, and I've had other employees. I recently had to let one go last week, unfortunately.
Mm.
It's just kind of part of the game that it was a media person to do social media and everything like that. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, it just wasn't working out. So I will be hiring for that again. And then as the two companies grow, the bags and the perfume, I plan on hiring like shipping managers. I'm going to need people to come in and kind of just like be shipping and receiving. And then eventually once that department grows and like say I'm just swamped with online orders, and we're shipping
Claim it, girl.
constantly. Exactly. I'm going to need more. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of one of those things that as I grow, I hire more.
Hmm.
Um, and I always feel like that's what holds a lot of business owners back is that they're afraid to hire because they're
Yes.
afraid of the commitment that it's
Yes.
going to take to pay somebody. But if you think about it, like if you pay someone, this is just an example, by the way, but say you pay someone $600 a week,
Hmm.
if they're able to take X, Y, and Z off your plate, can you go back and generate that $600 over again?
Easy.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's a
Yes.
no-brainer to hire people. I just want the right people around me. And if I
Mhm.
see any red flags or anything like that, it's not going to work out for me.
For
I've
you,
become very quick.
what are the red flags? Like what are your just it's always funny because I ask this question a lot to business owners and it's always kind of something different.
Yeah, so lying to me is huge. Even if it's a white lie. Like if I
Hmm.
catch you in a silly little lie,
Hmm.
like lying for no reason, that's what recently happened.
Hmm.
And I just tell me. Like
Right.
why are you making stuff up? That's weird, bro. Um
Right.
and so I don't like that. Constantly being late. I'm not a stickler for the time clock. I'm really not.
Hmm.
Um, I don't care if you're 5, 10 minutes late. Stay later and make it up.
Hmm.
Or if you need to get off early because you need to run an errand, that's fine. Let me know and just stay
Right.
later and make it up.
Right.
I'm not like a super, you have to be here at 8:59. Like I'm not like that. But if you can't make it in, if you are consistently every single day 30, 45 minutes late, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of things: dishonesty, tardiness, like habitual tardiness.
Hmm.
Another one I ended up letting go. It was attitude. It was like nonverbal attitude. Anytime I asked for help with anything,
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's the whole point of your job, is to be here of service.
yeah. And
Otherwise, I don't need you here.
yeah, then I started feeling apprehensive about even asking for something. So then I just started doing it myself. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this. This is no
Right.
way to work.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So with all of that, the people that you listed, those are kind of under you, supporting you. Have you had like mentors that are maybe ahead of you a little bit, that are saying, okay, I've seen this before, let me guide you? Who are the wise counsel that you've surrounded yourself with?
Yeah, I actually, I didn't have any of that growing up. I did have to kind of figure
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff out on my own.
Hmm.
I would say that as far like business wise, I mean, there is one person who was mentoring me. Anytime I have business questions, he'll answer me. His name's Joe Crivlow. He's amazing. He's been a great person to call and ask questions on.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, not help with everything, but
Right. Right.
initially, hey, how do you pay out this? How should I structure this pay? What about bonuses? He was always there to answer those questions.
Okay.
And then I get a lot of business advice, honestly, from online.
Really?
Yeah.
Your Facebook. I see you always asking questions, so I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
mean, I
Yeah.
have a lot of business owners on my Facebook. Hey guys, da 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 da.
Right.
And
Right.
I'll get tons of answers, and they'll be
Hmm.
from this spectrum and this spectrum, and I'm not gonna like always listen to one. I take it all, and then
Right.
I
Do
form
your
an opinion
research. Hmm.
exactly. But
Hmm.
they give me ideas. Like I do rely a lot on social media, YouTube, all of those, Instagram. I follow hashtags on Instagram and TikTok, small business,
Hmm.
things like that. And I listen to things that they do and implement in their business, and then
Yeah.
I try it out.
Well, I know social media has been really important to your business, with your ability for sales leads, the ability to hire. Share with me what your relationship with social media has been like in for your business.
Sure. So, um, as far as like recruitment goes, I've recruited a lot of people from social media, but not actively. It's not like I'm like, hey, here's a funnel, click here and fill out your
Right.
information. And I seem to tend to recruit passively, which is where I'm sharing my
Story,
story, my
success.
growth. And
Hmm.
obviously, 6 years ago, I posted about completely different things than I do now. I didn't have what I have now to talk
Right.
about. And I think people just see the growth over time. And I get messages like, hey, what do you do?
Right.
How, and then it kind of just goes from there. So I've gotten some really great agents from social media. As far as like the other things too, last year I was approached about writing a book, and I initially freaked out, and I even told the publisher, I was like, I don't really think I think you have the wrong person here. I don't think I have anything to contribute for a book. And
Right.
so I went on social media on Facebook, and I actually wrote out like, hey guys, I was just approached by a publisher to write a book. Um, I'm having self doubt. I really don't think I have anything to contribute. If I were to write a book, would you buy it? And I had like 78 people say yes. And that was like the affirmation that I needed,
Hmm.
because we all face imposter syndrome, a
Yes.
lot. Like, am I really worth this? And so that was the affirmation I needed. And I went ahead and I signed the book deal.
Mm.
And so social media has played a huge role in me. And I'm not saying I need it for validation all the time, but I
Right.
think that having the outlet and having people in your corner that will encourage you,
Right.
especially if you're having self doubt, plays a huge role.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, so I ask all my podcast guests, if you could tell yourself, your younger self, just one piece of
Mhm.
business advice before you knew what you knew now, like what would that piece of advice be?
Yeah. So, and I say this all the time. If you ever hear me in a speech or anything, I say this all the time. I wish I had been educated on the realm of the financial industry
Mm.
and had learned about what residual income is sooner.
Mm.
I feel like we're all brought up to trade time for money. The
Yes.
ultimate goal is to land a corporate job. Mine was to land a
Right.
corporate job and have a 401k and have a base salary and health insurance and all of these things. But um, you're essentially always trading time for money, and you're never actually going to be financially free unless you save every
Right.
penny, right? Being financially free is having multiple streams of income that come in without you having to actively work for it anymore. And if I had known about the insurance and financial industry when I was 20, my life would be completely different. Like I would have 20 years of book of business, 20 years of renewal income coming in. I'm at 5 right now, and I'm doing extremely well. Imagine if I had 15 more. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So that's what I would have told myself. I would have I would have educated myself on. I'm not a huge advocate for college anymore. I feel like I wasted a ton of money and a ton of time going to college.
I
And
saw
I'm
your
not
post
saying
the
this
other
is
day.
blanket. Yeah, this
I'm in the
isn't blanket
same,
advice. I'm not saying.
right.
Yeah, I'm not saying never go to college. If you want to go to be a doctor or lawyer, go to college. But I'm saying those soft degrees out there that don't actually guarantee you any sort of position. To me, I feel like it's kind of like it's like a con artisty type of vibe. It's super predatory loan tactics, and you get
Mhm.
massively in debt way over your head, and they allow that, and the interest rate is crazy. When I went to pay off my student loans a couple years ago, I paid them off in full. Right, I logged into Nelnet. I paid $65,000, 697, whatever the total was. Guess what happened next month? I had an interest bill of 3,800
Wow.
because I paid them off in full. Yeah, and so it's like if I
Right.
didn't make that, I would still be trapped under those, right? And
Right.
so like I just wish I that's what the platform I speak on now is, trying to reach more young people and educate them about the literacy of this industry and what it can actually do for someone if you apply yourself and you work hard.
Right. Now, oftentimes when I ask job seekers, so what are you looking for? So many times I get anything but sales. Why do you think that is?
Okay.
I mean, you spoke of the cold calling and how it was kind of
Mhm.
drudgery in the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
how can people get over that mindset? They just says has such a negative connotation, but you're
Yeah.
really changing lives. I mean, if you've ever made an insurance claim, especially life, it's 100% life changing. To lose your spouse and be left
Yeah.
destitute is a very different situation to be grieving your spouse and able to pay off your mortgage and get the
Yeah.
counseling that you need and take care of your children and things like that. So
Yeah.
what would you say to someone who says, oh, anything but sales?
I used to feel the exact same way. Whenever I got approached for that sales position, I told you I thought it was disgusting. But my mindset back then was, I need a corporate job that's my worth. That's where I'll
Right.
find my identity. This is what I need.
Hmm.
And I would just say, there's not really anything that's going to change anyone's mind just like that. I'm not going to say something magical, but I would just
Right.
say to someone, in sales, you basically earn what you're worth. And
Hmm.
so if you're not worth that much money because you don't work that hard, it's going to prove it. And I feel like that's what holds a lot of people back, is they realize they're not actually that hard of a worker and they're not going to get paid that much. But if you're someone who is hungry and wanting to prove yourself, you will excel in sales, especially if it's something you're passionate about. If you get out there, you have the leads, you call people, you can connect with people fairly well, you're going to make a phenomenal amount of money. And part of it is just being in a comfort zone. My comfort zone was corporate pay, corporate America. That was my
Yeah.
comfort zone.
Your
And being
security.
thrown into cold calling, exactly. Being thrown into cold calling, that was my discomfort. That was my fear zone. After I learned how to do it, then that was my growth zone. And I
Mhm.
feel like so many people are afraid of what's on the other side of their comfort zone. And nothing I say is going to fix that. It's just going to have to be life experiences. And I would say, if anyone is curious about the insurance industry at all, give me a call. I mean, I'll walk you through it. I show you the pros and the cons. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Right. Right. Well, thank you so much. We'll have all your information for folks to reach out in the description below. So I encourage you, if you are curious about how to make residual income, how to build that book of business, and just maybe insurance, period. Maybe you don't even know what the day to day or the product lines look like. I know Jessi's very accessible. She'll walk you through it. And like she said, it can either be for you or not, but at least maybe be open to the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Dawn. This was fun.
Yeah, not a problem. It's so good to have you on, and just amazing to hear kind of your, rags to riches story, if I dare say. All right. I will see you all next time. Thanks so much. Thanks again for spending time with us today. If you want more HR stories and resources, go to simplythebest.com to join our newsletter. That's SIPLEY. Until next time, stay happy.